Yes, I wanted to respond because there is the media time and there is also the judicial time. So we cannot consider that Ms. Weinstein today is guilty of anything. There is the presumption of innocence, and in all states of law, one should not be nailed to the pillory or lynched. All judicial steps must be able to lead to a possible conviction. Moreover, especially in American and French justice, there is not a world for the powerful and a world for the weaker. So, of course, one must be cautious, knowing that even President Nixon was subject to a judicial procedure. No one is supposed to be above the law, and even less so in the United States than anywhere else. So, there is a possibility, in the end, of being declared guilty or not. It is also necessary to be very precise in what we just said. There is not really an indictment. Mr. Weinstein simply appeared before a grand jury that does not have the entire file, that does not have only a few elements. And this indictment cannot in any way be equivalent to a formal investigation in France. So, there are not enough serious and consistent clues today. There are simply only a few pieces of evidence that were directly given to the grand jury for them to make a formal accusation. But that does not in any way prejudge what could be done. Second point, if you allow me, there are about 100 victims. There are already 8 complainants who have made a deal with the accused, meaning they have reached an agreement and will not be able to file a complaint against Mr. Weinstein, an agreement on a financial level. And there is also, we must remember, a complaint that had already been dismissed for the same facts and the same procedures. With an actress in 2015, with the prosecutor who had considered that there was not enough evidence against Mr. Weinstein. So, the presumption of innocence must apply not only to the weakest, but also to the most powerful.
How do you gather evidence? Since it will be necessary for the complainants to provide evidence, but how do you gather evidence of a non-consensual sexual relationship, for example?
Often it's word against word, unfortunately. And in fact, in France, and it's the same in the United States. We start from the principle that ultimately you have to prove the coercion, at least in France, in the United States. I'm not sure if it's consent or coercion exactly, but we are not in a mindset where each person should actively desire a sexual encounter. So it ultimately perpetuates the idea that perhaps the alleged victims did not understand what happened, or gave the wrong signals, or did not know how to say what they didn't want, whereas there you go. There comes a time when someone has the power to make or break youth's careers. And we have clearly seen that the women who stated that they had tried to have sexual relations with them and they had refused, their careers were destroyed in an instant. So, in my opinion, there is coercion, because there is inevitably a power dynamic that is created. A power dynamic in the workplace?
It was difficult to prove, Counselor.
Yes, of course, power dynamics are part of everyday life. In that case, we would have to forbid any interaction between a man and a woman. We shouldn't go that far. Certainly, in some cases there is coercion. It still needs to be proven. We cannot simply consider that, because at some point one wants to boost their career, they become victims of rape. That's not what rape is. It's a non-consensual sexual relationship. However, the defense clarified it today. There were sexual relations, certainly, but they were perfectly consensual. They say, in relation to what has been the subject of accusations against Mr. Weinstein.
Weinstein's lawyer, by the way, intends to discredit the victims. That will be his strategy. It is noted that he's the same lawyer who represented DSK in 2011.
Absolutely. The defense lawyer didn't have to do much in the first DSK case because, let's remember, Nafissatou Diallo herself had considered that she no longer had the means to pursue her case, in the sense that she had been completely discredited. It was proven that she had simply filed the complaint to obtain financial compensation. And there will be, on one hand, the charges from the district in Tournai, so from prosecutor Cyrus Vance, who is also one of the former protagonists of DSK, and also the defense's resources that will directly verify the plaintiff's entire past. For a moment of astonishment, since we know there are 100 life climates, we can also ask the question, why on earth are there only 2 plaintiffs to date who have actually filed a complaint in a legal manner?
Thank you, Master Stephen Rahim.